I grew up poor, but I grew up with a lot of love too. My mom really tried her hardest for us. She made sure we got tested and then put into this gifted and talented track program. I imagine she thought, this is what will give my kids the best opportunity in life. The expectations of the kids who were my neighborhood friends was so low. And the expectation for the kids who had been, labeled honors or gifted was that, of course, they would succeed. Eventually, those life paths started to diverge. And I felt in a way like I owed some of my friends.
My dad made it to about the 5th grade. He went to prison before we were born, and he had cancer. He passed away when my brother and I were 2 years old. My dad's life could potentially have been way different had he had access to a high-quality education. Wanting to identify with and make my dad proud was really, really important to me. In college, activism felt to me like my whole life. What I realized is that being in the streets is a form of activism, but teaching is the most revolutionary thing that you can do.
When I started Teach for America, it was the late 1990s. At the time, there was a real question of the digital divide.
We must connect all of our citizens to the internet, not just in schools and libraries.
At some point, some federal program wanted to put internet in low-income schools. And so my school got entirely hardwired for internet. The only problem was we didn't have any computers. That was I'll say, a very important lesson that I keep with me. If policy isn't rooted in realities for people, then they're just empty policies.
I think it was pretty clear going into Atlanta, my educational experience was so colored by race. Forever, I had viewed school as a place that didn't support Black and brown kids. And when I went to Atlanta, that wasn't the case. It felt so foreign to me for Black kids to talk about how much they love school. Because it's like, oh, you see people here who look like you and who genuinely love you. Atlanta was the place where I really had a genuine understanding of the impact that perceptions can have either in a negative or positive way.
Today, I am an attorney here in Seattle. I've argued in front of our state Supreme Court, and I can honestly say that standing in front of my 8th grade students was a harder experience. We had systemic issues that people who were very smart and were good-hearted people had designed and that did not actually work in practice. When I'm out there and I'm thinking about policies, when I'm thinking about how do we structure things, what things should get funded, always I'm thinking about what would this mean for me growing up as a kid in poverty? What would it mean for my kids in the Delta who I was teaching?
I'm a principal at Aki Croce Middle School, and I've been here for 11 years. My beliefs about students and what students are capable of achieving and doing, those expectations are limitless.
It's not enough for us to just have great teachers. We need great people in all sectors who are going to be working towards true equity and true social change.
I believe education is self-determination for people of color. Once you have an education, no one can take that away from you. Our kids are just as capable, just as smart. I can't press the point enough. They deserve the best we can give.
Change is possible, but it's something that only happens if we're all working towards it. We all need to recognize that we want better for our kids, and we all have a role to play in making that happen.